Hello, we are live once again. It's alive. It's alive. We were gone for a couple of weeks. I'm Dawn. This is Tia. Together we are Mocha Dip. Um, let's see. Last week was we didn't record for 2 weeks. Or we didn't stream for 2 weeks, I should say. Um I say record because even though this is a live stream, it's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, so people probably watch it then after the fact. Excuse me. 2 weeks ago, the cough that I had developed into a cold, and I was misery personified. So that was why we didn't record last week. The week before last. Last week was TB's birthday.
Thank you.
So we took
being
some
alive.
time.
I did a good job.
Yep. She took some time to relax and relate and celebrate. This week we are back. I am at about 95% because I still have this cough. And we were talking about different things. I did finish out Shadow and Bone to clear up last week's the last time we were recording. I did finish it. I finished it the next day. I am excited for I want to see season 2. And I have without too many spoilers. It's like, God damn it! Why do we have to have so many good-looking, morally gray characters or evil characters?
When the dark one gave her that look, you was just like, hey.
Mm-hmm.
I see what's not about to happen.
Look, how about how can I get him to look at me like I'm scrumdiddly-umptious like that? Cause
you too.
No.
Yeah, I'm not mad.
Yeah. So that leads us to today's topic. We are going to be talking about things that inspire us for our writing, because if you know, you should know. Well, you really should know. Both of us are authors. I have interracial paranormal romance. I am about to debut a K-pop series this year, and I am excited about that. I'll get more into that the further we go along, and we talk about crafting the books and whatnot. And TB writes paranormal romance as well as sci-fi and maybe a couple of other things that she slid under the belt that I don't know about, but I don't know about them. But do I? I think I do know about it. That covers everything, right?
That covers everything.
Okay.
That covers everything.
All righty. So I will ask you, where does your inspiration come from?
Honestly, my inspiration comes from many places. I know that sounds generic, but it does. Like, for example, there's a story that I'm working on that I wanted to have this evil character, so to speak, my villain, and I wanted him to be part of a love triangle, but I didn't want it to be a casual love triangle where you felt like she clearly didn't have a chance. He didn't have a chance with her. I wanted people to be in conflict if possible, but at the same time, I want them to root for the hero and the heroine, which I know that gets to be difficult sometimes because you like who you like. But I did appreciate how the dark
look. Go back to the statement that read morally gray characters. Why?
Yes. I wanted to do that because I wanted to, a lot of times when you see these villain characters and they are in a triangle with the hero, heroine, or whoever you got going on in this pairing, what ends up happening is that person is so left field from the person that they're into that it's not possible for them to be with them unless it was a case where before they turned bad they were with them. So to have a character fall in love with the villain while they're villaining, because villain's got a villain, that I feel like, well, that definitely took effort, and I had to craft it a certain way to make that happen.
Okay,
or
so
to tell the story of that. So I will say that the character of the Darkling kind of reminds me of a character I have. And so I'm going to be drawing inspiration by the performance that
I was just about
Prince
to say
Caspian gave us.
I was just about to say we need to start a petition for your story because I know about the story. I know about the story. I know about the character she's talking about. So I want to start a petition to have not only have this made into a movie, but have either Ben Barnes, Tom Hiddleston, or Benedict Cumberbatch play this character. Because
wow, you're thinking Benedict for that?
Yeah. I
Really?
saw him perform Smaug.
Interesting.
I also saw him as Khan.
Interesting. I'm not saying he doesn't have villain potential, but as that character in particular, going over the edge like that and being romantic, because that's the one cool. Because see, that's the one thing that I see, like I said in stories, is when you have a villain, I feel like the reason why the villain is the villain is because they go too far.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whatever the reasons are, they go too far. And I feel like when you have a villain as part of the in a love triangle with the heroine and the hero, I feel like you gotta have that villain at least be worthy of the I dated him kind of deal. It's just like, why would she? There's too many of these. It was like, why would you date him? It's unrequited. That's boring.
It smacks of realism because how many times have real women been like, why did I date him?
Why I dated him is more realistic to me. When you got your eyes open, Darmok, his eyes are wide open and all that. That's a lot easier than this dude who never had a shot to begin with. But darn it, if he's not stalking her into oblivion, means no. I mean, come on now. So yeah, I will tell you, if y'all read this story, first off, don't at me and don't come for me in reviews because you're mad that she didn't get with the film. You can I should say, you can be mad in the reviews, but do not give me 1 star and 2 stars for it. You give me 3 or 4 and just be mad.
Because it will make sense. It will make sense. I have 1000% faith in her storytelling ability. It will make sense.
Yes, and I won't make it so that you just cannot move on. You will love the hero and the heroine together. Maybe not as much because it depends on your alignment yourself, but
Yeah, because that is one thing that I see a lot when they do with love triangles.
Mm-hmm.
They either make the one that she ends up with a bumbling idiot, and then you're like, why?
Yes.
Why did this happen? And
or he's not worthy of her either.
Yeah. And the morally gray or the villain type character, excuse me. They vilify him to such a point where it's like, okay, sis, I'm not saying anything bad about your choices. I'm really not. But have you looked at this nice little convent over here?
Blink twice to tell me if you're hostage.
You know,
Or make sure
are
you
you
do this.
okay?
Make sure you do this. Grab my hand and you do this.
You know,
Let me know.
blink 3 times and squeeze my finger. Let us know. Or and this is something that is also becoming popular that I personally cannot stand. And I've talked about it frequently, is when you have a set story that's in a series, and book 1 there is a love triangle, and in book 1 she's with the nice guy. We like the nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
She ends up with the nice guy, and we're all happy because she's with the nice guy. But then you have the slime ball that is the morally gray character. He is the one that you're like, I don't know how she can redeem him. That is not a good look, sweetheart. No. And you're like, ugh, he kind of skeeves me out by the end of book 1. And then in book 2, there's this huge like paradigm shift, and the nice guy that you were in love with is now this insufferable a-hole.
Yes.
And she dumps him and
Yes.
ends up getting with the slime ball from the other book, and you realize that he was a slime ball for other reasons.
Yeah. I hate that. It almost reminds me of.
And it's like, okay, you have officially wasted my time with book 1. What?
No, because I recently had that happen to me, and there's one book. Well, I shouldn't say book. There's one series where they didn't quite do that. It was get with this one dude and then end up with this other guy. But I did not like the first love interest to begin with. I thought this was actually well executed. This is, if you're interested, y'all, this is the study series by Maria V. Schneider. There is a character that gets with someone who is villainous. Well, no, they're good. You meet the villain in this story, almost like a sub villain because there was multiple, and some stuff actually jumps off that's pretty. You're kind of like, are we gonna come back from this? But they have circumstances, and it took several books to do it, where the guy she ended up with, who was the good guy, she breaks up with him at some point and gets with the villain who redeemed himself. He actually did redeem himself. Like I said, it took a couple books. It was some serious stuff. But I'm going to tell you, I felt like something was off with her in the hero, because she was with 2 different dudes. She was with 2 different dudes before she got with the villain dude. And so the first guy, I was like, I'm not feeling him at all. The second one, I felt better about it, but it still wasn't right. I didn't know who I wanted her to be with, to be honest with you. And then when that third guy came out, I was like, this is a better fit. But I will tell you, I still had trouble with her being with the guy that she ended up with until later on, when that girl's not the focus anymore, and they go from main characters to supporting characters, and you're seeing them together, and then it was like, cool, yeah, that works. It took a long time for me to accept them.
I will say I don't like wasting my time.
Right. Nobody wants that.
When a series pulls a bait and switch like that, I feel like I've wasted my time. I'm sitting here looking at the box set of the first season of True Blood.
The first season of what?
True Blood. True Blood did that to me. True Blood made me feel like I wasted 7 seasons.
Yeah.
Because of the way it ended.
See,
and with as long ago as True Blood ended,
you still mad. I see it in your face.
Angry.
I see it. Look, the curl of your lip. Now look at that. The curl of the lip and everything, and there on the eyes. Notice all the physicalities. You need that when you're writing the story.
Yes. But I am still angry.
I don't blame you. That is a bait and switch. Literally got to the end.
That is a worse bait switch than the actual book. Because the book pulled a bait and switch too.
Oh, really?
Yes. If you don't want the end of the Sookie Stackhouse series to be spoiled for you, even though it's been a couple of years now, fast forward a little bit until I put my hand down. Okay, I will keep my hand up so this way you can't even read my lips. The books end. And here I go. The thing with the books, True Blood ended. We did not know who the hell Sookie Stackhouse ended up with because we never saw his face. Bill was gone. Eric was off doing his own thing with the preacher's wife that had the antidote for the vampire drug in his system. Yeah, he was like pimping her out in the basement and whatnot. That was actually kind of funny. But yeah, so we see everybody together in this whole like happy family picnic and whatnot, and we see her kiss this dude that she's getting married to, that she's pregnant by, and we never see his face. This is someone totally random that we have never seen in 7 seasons. The book, on the other hand, the book has been her going back and forth between Bill, Eric, Alcide, and a couple of other characters that I'm not 100% sure about, but Sam is also one of them. Sam is her boss. Sam is very protective of her. Sam is the shifter that changes into I think it's a border collie, but he's a dog, right? Right. By the time the last couple of books comes along, the main thing is like, okay, is she going to end up with Bill or is she going to end up with Eric? She ends up with Sam. So they pulled a bait and switch in the book too. But again, not as bad as the series because at least we know Sam. And the series could not do that because they gave Sam his own family.
Right when okay. I was going to be like, your hand started moving this way.
I know. I'm like, I'm done now.
Wow. Okay. So do not bait and switch people.
I'm still angry about that.
So yeah, do not bait and switch. If you're gonna do it, put in the work like Maria did.
Or at least sit back and give us some signs for the bait and switch.
Put in the work because you don't want to HD it either.
Yeah, because yeah, I could have handled this is another book series that I have told you about that I'm not going to name because a lot of people are like, oh, this is so great, and I'm like, no, it's not. But if you would have in book 1 you give me a hero and you find out it was a paranormal YA novel, give me some inklings that this is not going to be a happily ever after. Show me a happily for now.
Okay.
One problem with the happily ever after and with the way this particular story was constructed was that the hero was under a curse. And the only thing that could break the curse was true love. So by the end of book 1, the curse is broken. True love favors all. That to me is happily ever after. But really, it was a happily for now. Because in book 2, she ends up hooking up with another dude and leaving dude A because he turned into an abusive jerk.
Ooh, that sounds like that's some drama.
It was
Yeah.
it was drama. He turned into an abusive jerk because of circumstances that happened in the first novel. It gave them both PTSD.
Yeah.
And he took it too far. He took it as, oh my God, I could not protect you. You ended up saving me, but now I have to protect you. I'm going to basically lock you in my castle.
Okay. Yeah, that a little bit real world there.
Yeah.
A little bit real world there, which sometimes that sucks.
Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, if you were to write a story or construct a story where you're having your heroine or your hero falling in love with a dubious person, how would you go about it?
First of all, it would probably be my hero falling in love for the dubious chick.
That's not something we get to see a lot, so that's good times.
That's why I'm like, yeah. And I think that's actually kind of coming down the pipeline.
Good times.
Briar.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta muddy her hands a lot.
Okay.
But I would handle it as a thing of I would probably make it so that she would still be morally gray, but she would want to do better for him. Because what was I think it was TikTok that I went and I saw someone say, excuse me, and people were talking about, again, morally gray characters and villains and how people were questioning their morals. And someone went and mentioned how the only difference between a villain and a hero, I believe, was like romantically. The hero wants to save the world for you. And the morally gray character, the villain character, you are their world. So screw everything else. You're what's important. And
really?
Yeah, they said it a lot better.
Yeah, because I would disagree with that.
You know, like a villain in a romantic situation. Or
yeah, I would disagree with that.
So
most people want someone who that they are their world. Most people.
Yeah, but real talk.
Oh, I know that's not healthy.
Look, at the end of the day, when we think this through.
When you think it through, yeah, you wouldn't want that. I was actually thinking when you said that the difference between the hero and the villain would be who did she pick or who did he pick. That's really what it is.
Look, now just for that alone, I kind of want to write about what is it, Tokyo Babylon 1919 X. I kind of want to write.
You mean 199? Is it 1999 X, right?
I think it is 1990. No, it was Tokyo Babylon 1999.
Yes, but it's also
and then it was
X
just too. Or it was just X. One of those two. If you don't know,
we're gonna talk about that anime another day. Because I want to do something with that as a story. For real, I want to do something like that. I'm not going to make it as complicated as that thing did, but I do like that. I like the idea of the two-sided coin situation. That was pretty
You know
intense.
I
And I
love me
like
some
the way
coins.
the series did it better than the movie.
The movies is there and have you scratching your head like that's ugh.
It's like, why did you crack up like that, dude? But yes, we're gonna talk about that. That's an old anime. And I'm not talking about old like a million years old. It's old as in it was in the 90s.
You know.
And that's what everyone seems to be gauging things by now. So if you was born in
Oh
the
my
90s, welcome to
god.
being old. Welcome with
Yeah.
the rest of us. If you were born in the
Oh,
90s, welcome to the old.
again, another TikTok. This dude was so, a TikTok that I saw. This dude was livid
Because
because
he's old.
someone said if you were born in 1999 or before, you are now considered a cougar. And he just flipped.
Yeah. That's just like you and I are old millennials because we
Yeah.
were at the beginning. And I'm like, what? What?
Yep.
I'm like, ah. That's another
Yeah.
whole subject. Anyway, though.
Yeah. Whole different
So,
talk show.
yeah. Just know that we're old millennials. Thank you. And that's where we're going to leave it. Millennials are not as
Bad.
slower on the digits as you think.
Yeah.
But I will say that right now I am playing with that one particular story. I'm enjoying myself with the whole romance with the villain aspect, and also making sure that I up the game for the hero so that we're not like, oh, just bootleg, you know, that you can see the romance, you can see the connection, why it works for those two versus the other two, and all of that. And I have another question for you.
Okay.
As a writer, especially a person who has several books going into, what do you have, like 10 books?
Yes.
Okay.
11 is in September, 12 is in November.
Do you find it hard to make sure that you're not writing the same characters over and over again?
Yes and no. I do. I find it hard because yes, I have character types. But then again, I don't find it hard because you have the plucky heroine, you have the badass female, you have the brooding dark hero, you have the hero that cracks that always cracks jokes and people don't want to take him seriously. You have the techie, you have the lancer, the main hero, that sort of thing. So yeah, it does get kind of difficult trying not to write the same one twice, trying not to use the same one-liners from series to series to series. The only thing the main thing that mitigates a lot of that for me is that they're all in totally different universes. I have
Okay. Yeah, that would make it a little easier because, yeah, I see that.
because my demons would not react to certain things the same way my necromancer does. And my necromancer doesn't react to things the way my Fey warrior does. And my Fey warrior would not react to things the way my K-pop idol does. So
Well,
that
clearly.
my K-pop idol may react to things the way my dragon would never. So that's one thing that shuffles things around. The personality tropes, I would say the two like it because I'm thinking about it. I think the two characters that I have that would be the most similar would probably be Arya from the Dragon's Awakening series and Gus from Tempered.
Okay.
And there was damn near a decade between me writing the two books. So it is what it is. Meanwhile, someone like Madison, who is, I hate to say it, 1000% my personality, would not be someone like Chantal or I'm sorry, Cristal or Kalina from the Once Upon a Villain series. So it's a little hard, but once I put that into play, like, okay, yeah, she's this character type, but these are her powers and this is what she does. And so I vary those things up. Whereas the deck of cards is this, it's a same suit, but a totally different deck of cards. I say that because I have 5 decks right here.
I don't have any cards. Oh, I got cards, but I ain't showing that deck.
Kenshin?
You don't want me to show my deck.
No.
We trying to keep this PG.
Fushigi, Vice Cruz, and Black Butler.
Yeah. We gotta keep mine PG, so.
Yeah. Yeah, let it be known that her cards are a little risque. And can get us in a whole lot of trouble.
Yeah, we're not trying to do that. But I personally recently, and maybe it's all in my head, I don't know. No one said anything, so it probably is. But that's one of the things that I think about as I'm approaching the double digits in one series and other series are building up. I'm just like, how much recycle can I do? Because let's face it, I'm a real person. I don't got so many personalities in here. I got like 15, but really, once you get past 15 books, you're recycling. So I think what's probably most important is, like you said, that not necessarily the personalities, but recycling the verbiage. I think when you start doing that,
yeah,
then it starts to get
the verbiage and the scenes, because there's another author that shall remain nameless that when reading her series got up to about book 15, 16, and you're like, oh, here's the one where they do it in the shower. Here's the scene that they do it in the grotto. Here's the scene that they do it in the dirt. Oh, look, an actual bed. And it's the same scene. It's almost
words too.
Yeah,
the words are the same
copy
too.
And paste, find and replace.
Because there's only so many places you can have sex, let's be honest.
Yeah, and so
I even had them out of space.
I almost came up on that with the story that I'm working on now. There was a certain circumstance that happened in book 12, because I ended up writing this out of order. Really, book 0.5 of my Sins Entertainment series, which is my new K-pop series, which is coming out. That is going to be coming out in November. So I wrote that book first, thinking that there was something else that I had to get out like sooner, and that date got pushed back. And so since that date got pushed back, I decided to make myself insane and write book 1 in about a month.
You did a good job.
So if you go on my Instagram and you see me having little accountability buddies of the BTS Tiny Tans, that yeah, it is that story. It is up for pre-order. It will be done. Don't worry. I work well under. I hate saying I work well under pressure, but I do. So it'll be out September 3rd. It is called Promised Eternity. I had thought about having something similar happen, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no, he can't do that because it was legit done in this other book, so I have to change this up. So yeah, it's dropping the L bomb. You know, I was gonna have the dropping of the L bomb in pretty much the same place, and I'm like, no, that can't happen. That can't happen because
I think it can happen if it's purposeful. Can't do it by accident, unless that's the thing.
No, well, see, I don't want that to become the thing for that series. You know,
I get it. I said that's why I said purposeful.
Yeah. So it's like it makes sense in Christmas Remix, the book that's coming out in November. It makes sense for the L bomb to be dropped when it's dropped because the heroine makes a huge thing about we need to work on your communication because your timing always sucks. Meanwhile, the couple in Promised Eternity, the book coming out in September, they don't have that dynamic.
Right. All right, so I know what it is. Yeah, that don't make sense there.
Yeah,
that don't make sense. I know what you're talking about now.
So yeah, no. So in other books, you know, other heroes may end up dropping the F bomb. They drop. They drop those too.
I try not to drop that, or if I do, drop it not often, so that there is nice surprise when it happens.
No, these Dajin.
But I also you're writing contemporary. That's a whole other animal.
Yeah, Dajin is someone who regularly curses. I might have to put more in there because it's one of those things that I normally hold myself back, and I can. TB knows. I can string a series of curses together and form a complete sentence, and it will make perfect sense. I used to be an artist at it, but as I got older, had more responsibilities, I had to curb my language naturally. And so now when I'm writing, I try not to have swear words every other line because I do have characters that are different. They don't want some of them don't curse at all. Other ones they swear when they need to. And then we have others that Dajin, he's one of the ones that swears when he's angry. So with a situation that happens, he's angry at one of his friends. And so he sits back and he calls this friend a bastard, a dick, an asshole, all of that. Because it's real. The circumstances, it's real.
And I also think too that what happens as far as swearing and even using informal language, most of us do not write the way we talk. And if we did, we would be shocked. That's part of the reason why a lot of people feel that, a matter of fact, if we did write the way we talk, not only would people shocked, but people would think that you have like no command of the language that you speak at all.
Yeah.
They would not think you did, because a lot of people don't realize how informal they are. Like, so many people have dangling participles when they talk, and id and prepositions. Some people don't even know what a preposition is, but let that happen in your dialogue or in your, well, the dialogue they'll probably forgive you, but the narration, if you, especially if you're reading in first person, writing in first person, or you're reading in first person, I guess, and they have the whole entire narrative the way people actually really think and speak, oh my gosh, you will see a 1-star story about how ignorant you are and you need to re-edit this book.
Oh, I got one even better for you. I got one even better for you.
Do tell.
Someone wrote the accents.
Yeah, see,
and I'm
Mark
talking.
Twain was enough of that for me.
And I'm not even and it's one of those, yeah, I'm not even talking like British accent or Russian accent. No, I'm talking Boston.
Someone wrote a Boston? I've seen Jamaican. I've seen
someone went and wrote a Boston accent.
I don't even want to understand. Those are stories you have to read out loud.
Yes, I was about to say I had to read that out loud in order to understand what I was seeing. And yes. I'm like, oh my God.
That's the only way you can understand it. I read a New York accent one. I read a Southern, real deep South. Jamaican with patois.
I have read
somebody tried to do Chinese. I'm like, first off, we was getting into some sketchy territory with that one. You were all sketchy, but it seemed that dialogue they was writing seemed extra sketchy. I was just like, you might want to step away from that vehicle.
Yeah, pretty much so. Okay, now we are at 42:30, and we talked about a lot about what inspires us and what infuriates us. Excuse me. One piece of advice I will give to our viewers: if you are going to write your own stories, if you are going to jump into the behemoth that is the publishing world, one thing that I will say is, oh God, I forgot what I was about to say.
You could have been having so many facts here. So
I know.
Was it about writing, not taking yourself too seriously, do your best, write the damn book? What?
It was with the characters. It was when you make your characters, and also when you're creating your story. And we're gonna do this for the next couple of minutes. While you're crafting your story, remember who your characters are. And also try not to bite off more than you can chew, because readers will see it. There again, it will remain nameless. Excuse me. There was a fan fiction that TB and I read ages ago. To this day, it still sticks with us for the for the wrong reason. This person wrote a story. It was actually pretty interesting. It went on for chapters and chapters and chapters. We got to see, it was
like 100 chapters?
No, it wasn't quite 100. I think it was around 50, 60. It was around 50, 60, but these were healthy chapters. These chapters were like 5K a piece.
I knew it was a lot.
Yeah. And so we were invested. We get up to, it was a 5, And here's where I say this person bit off more than they could chew. It was a story centering around a 5-man band. And no, I don't mean an actual band. I mean 5 characters, 5 main characters. Each of these characters ended up with a romantic interest that was fleshed out, that we got to see all of this build up, all of this tension.
Because 5 romance novels, basically.
Yeah. And all in one fan fiction, all accumulating up to this one big battle. We were there. We were at the night before the battle. And the author wrote an author note saying how they were tired, they could not do it anymore, and they don't like writing fight scenes. So here's what happens after the battle. And not even write it as a story, but write it as a book report paragraph.
It was literally what she just said, y'all.
So again, I wasted my time. So you don't want to do that. You want to stay focused on what you can do. And if you're not sure what you can do, you sit back and you try to plan your series, which is what we're getting into now. So, how do you plan your series? Because I know my answer, and my answer is not satisfactory to a whole lot of people. I know a whole lot of women that would be like, ah!
Okay. So, all right. So I personally have 2 types of series. I have a series of standalones. So in that case, it doesn't require any overall planning. It just needs an overall concept. For example, Paris in Springtime is a series I have. It's a series of standalones. So the only concept that it's more of a concept that I have is every book is going to be a different couple. And the thing that ties them all together is some type of either the couple directly went to Paris in Springtime, one of them went to Paris in Springtime, or someone somehow set them up to go through Paris in Springtime. And
someone sent in an application.
Right, someone put in the application and that's how they're together. Or it's probably a side story where they're related to someone who that happened. I would say that there are 2 stories in there that are like that, where they knew people that went to Paris in Springtime, and the rest of them are direct. And so I don't have to do a lot of planning for that unless I have, which is starting to happen now. I've stories still stand alone, but I've got some that are linked together. What'd you say?
Cameos.
Yeah, I got some.
We have cameos and Easter eggs.
They're strong cameos, if you will, where it's a continuation of the story or another view of the story that happened with a different couple. And so I not only have cameos over the other people, but I gotta tell that story so it can stand alone. So if you don't read the other story, you still know what's going on. So that's where that kind of planning can get kind of tricky, because when I know that that's going to happen, I handle that. And again, this is a standalone. What I do is I'll just make myself a little table, and I'll say, this is what happened in this story. And then I will say what's going to happen in the story that I'm about to write, so that I know what points that I can intersect and what points to stay away from, and make sure I don't go and plagiarize myself. Well, I shouldn't say plagiarize myself. I go and change my rules, which you definitely don't want. And that's how I handle that kind of thing. It's just a loose table. It doesn't have to be all extra. It's just got, a cell for one book, a sell for another book, and it just has what happened overall. Now, if I am doing a story that is contingent, heavily contingent, one book from another, like my Love, Sex, and Magic series, where it is literally picking up in the story, what I have to do is I have my overarching story that's happening in the series, and then I say, in book one, I'm going to advance the overall story this far. Then I can go into the details of what's going to happen within that story with the couple or whatever's happening. And that's how I tackle that. So, yeah. And the easiest way I do it is a table. I can get way more complex from that, but we will need another video for that. But yeah, the simplest way I would definitely say is to have your overarching, regardless of whatever type of series, you want to know either your core concept of what's going to happen, if you're doing standalone so that you make sure you still follow your rules, or if you're doing a continuous story, whether you do a continuous story or it's a continuous world, you need to know, like I said, your overarching goals for the series, and then you need to have your book goals. And then you got to be careful too. One thing you have to be careful about is making sure that when you move the series along, that you're kind of subtle with it, so it doesn't seem like, why is this here? You kind of want to pair it a little bit with something that's happening in the book, so it won't be so obvious that you have this thing here and people are like, I don't understand why this chapter's here.
Yeah, A side and B side.
Yes. So that's my answer.
my answer, and I will probably hear people screaming in the background, but I have A, I have Z, and a wing and a prayer.
Yeah, nobody's gonna want that. Yeah, I mean, even if you're, I will tell you, because so in the biz we call, there's two types. Well, it's kind of three types of people, because one's a combination. They call them pantsers and plotters. Pantsers are people who write it on the fly. They keep it all up here. They have plotters who write it all down. And if it's not on the page, it ain't on stage. Don't point to me. Don't point to me, because plotters plot way more than I do.
Yeah, you would be more a planter.
Yeah, I am a planter. I gotta have something, but I don't plot out to the level of detail that a lot of plotters do. Like, they plot every single chapter, what's happening, and I only do highlights.
Yeah, and every time I have tried to do an outline, every time a constructed outline, excuse me, even to your level, by the time it gets to me writing it, I feel like I've already written it, which is one of the reasons why I can't handwrite anymore. When I was doing fan fiction, I would handwrite all of my fan fiction and then type it into the computer and upload it and everything, because it was easier for me to carry around notebooks all of the time instead of everything else. TB also, to this day, still handwrites everything out and then types it into the computer, and that's
most things, not everything.
Most things. And that is like round one of her editing process. And me, I'm like, I've already written this. And there was one story that I had written, and some things were not copacetic. And it was like, it could have been done with an easy with some real editing on my part, changing things around, moving things here, there, and everywhere. And I ended up rewriting the entire damn book. Remember One for Sorrow?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I ended up rewriting that entire book because I felt like I already wrote it, and I was like, my mind is like, no, I can change it. I have the technology. I can make it better, stronger, faster. Yeah. So what I end up doing is I end up a lot of times and the most obvious will be with Sins Entertainment that I have done this, where I take situations that I see and I match them up with character types that I think would be interesting. And I put it in a blender, add some chemical X, and then my book is born.
And you know what? That's fine because that's your process.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's got a different process because we're also creatives. I will say though, for
I am
most,
also a huge advocate of don't do like I do.
I will tell you people, if you're a pantser, excuse me, if you're a pantser or a plotter, that's fine. I will tell you this, for the pantser people, you will be plotting eventually if you have a long series because you're not going to have any choice. It's just a question of, are you plotting first or are you plotting after? You will be plotting. Trust me. Because if you don't, you're going to eventually get to a point where you can't keep track here. And it won't take long, especially if you write long books. I'm just saying, you can write the book however you want to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But know that if you write a long, complicated series, you're going to have to come back and plot it after the fact so that you know what happened and what to use in the next book. It's just going to happen. The question is it first or last?
Yeah, I have because I know Sins Entertainment is going to be a huge series. I have to, once I'm done with Promised Eternity, I have to get on the ball to edit Christmas Remix. And when I'm editing Christmas Remix, I'll write down, this is chapter 1, this is the point of view it was in, this is what happened. This is chapter 2, this is point of view, this is what happened. It's just getting that time together to do that. Because I'm 70K in on Promised Eternity, and I think I'm almost at 75, I think. So yeah, I'm approaching my never-ending ending. So yeah. It is what it is, and I will go back eventually and be like, okay, this is what happened in this book, this is what happened in that book, this is what was I won't go into like what was said as much unless it's like a huge zinger. Like there is going to be another situation in the next book of Sins Entertainment that I have to write that down, that it sets up another book. There's a situation that happened totally off screen, and I have to write that out so that this way I know what's going on when I get to that couple's book. And because these books are told in the first person, it's really weird because I can only do clips of what's happening to other people. I have a character, Sora, that is going to end up in a situation, and the heroine in this book, yeah, she sees the situation coming, but we're not going to, and all of the heroines in the other books, they see the situation coming, but because Sora is young and dumb, we're not going to see exactly how it plays out because Sora's going to be sneaking behind everybody's back. So when it comes out, it's gonna be one of those things. So yeah, little things that you have to like do. You do have to start learning how to keep notes as a pantser. I hate it, but I understand it's a necessary evil. Let's see here. We are approaching the hour. Well, we've hit the hour mark. So we have been inspired by movies, books, media all around us. We talk about some of the ways we construct things together. And shall we? Would we want to continue this next next week on the Bat Channel?
Sure. I mean, there's other things that we can also talk about.
Yeah. So we'll continue this next week a little bit. Hopefully we'll have things constructed a little bit better. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still getting over the BTS concerts and J-Hope trying to kill the fandom. I sent you that picture. I sent you his latest assassination attempt. J-Hope isn't my bias, but I'm sending his pictures to the two main people that know my obsession with K-pop right now. TB and one of my cousins. I sit back. I sent her a text message. I'm like, here's today's reason for him trying to kill us. And I sent her that picture of him with the platinum hair. He went blonde and now he don't know how to act.
I'm getting off topic now.
I know. Hobie was supposed to be a safe one.
So next week, we'll be talking more about craft.
Okay, yeah, we will be talking more about craft. How we come up with our character. Well, we already know how I come up with mine. I started off with character tropes. So yeah, we could talk about craft and character tropes if you want. We'll think about it.
Yeah.
We'll think about it. We'll let you know next week. All right.
Exactly.
So this has been Dawn and TB for Mocha Dip. And we will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Bye.
Bye.